Hello students, in the last lecture we have seen the property of DFT, that is the circular symmetry property, as well as we have seen how to rearrange the sequence in terms of the circular manner and how to check its periodicity, as well as we have seen how to calculate the DFT for a sequence. Let's say now one of the DFT properties as well as what exactly the circular convolution. So these are some of the DFT properties which you can just observe over here. X of n will have x of k, x star of n will be x star of n minus k, x star of n minus n will be nothing but x star of k. If it is only the real part of x, then for it this is what the resultant DFT. If it is imaginary part, this is what the resultant DFT. Similarly, there are some of the signals, real valued signals, for which the DFTs are been mentioned over here. So these are the formulas for which you can go in depth and go for the proofs also. So let's see the next properties for it. That is nothing but based on the notations, what exactly it is, as well as the nature of the property. So when we go for x of n, it is x of k. Y of n will represent as a yk or y of k. Periodicity property means x of n and x of n plus n will be replaced with the x of k is equal to x of k plus n. That is nothing but the periodicity. If it is linearity, a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n will be given as a1 x1 of k plus a2 x2 of k. Next, if it is time reversal, x of n minus n will be replaced as a x of n minus k. Likewise, the further properties are provided. Now we will just concentrate on this circular convolution. What exactly is the circular convolution? This is important property. So for this circular convolution, let's proceed. So if it is multiplication of two DFTs, how to go for it? Let's say x1 of n and x2 of n. These are the two sequences for which we want to find out the endpoint DFT. So their endpoint DFTs will be given as a x1 of k and x2 of k. So once we calculated it for x1 and x2, then just multiply it. So their DFTs will be multiplied and final DFT is nothing but x3 of k. So once we got the x3 of k, then just proceed to calculate its IDFT. So for x3 of k, whatever we just observed, its IDFT will be given by the expression which is just mentioned over here. Let's say it is x3 of m is equal to 1 upon n summation k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x3 of k e raised to j plus j 2 pi k m by n. So this sequence can be given as a with the replacement of x3 of k as x1 of k into x2 of k, like this. So in a summarized way, this expression can be written in terms of the circular convolution like x3 of m is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1 x1 of n into x2 of m minus n mod n, where the range of m is from 0 to n minus n minus 1. So m minus n, what exactly it is, and to the mod n, it is called as a circular convolution. So this is nothing but circular convolution. So when x1 and x2 are to be verified for the circular convolution, this is how the formula with which we can go for. So thus we conclude that the multiplication of the DFTs of two sequences is equivalent to the circular convolution of the two sequences in time domain. Now let's proceed for the next. How to find out the circular convolution between the two sequences. Let's say these are the two sequences which are given. First one is nothing but x1 of n, second is x2 of n. So for these two sequences, if we want to apply the formula, that will be nothing but the x3 of m formula. Let's say this is the case when m is equal to 0. So when m is 0, this is how we need to just apply the formula. M is equal to 0, x1 of n into x2 of minus n mod n. So once we apply the formula, you will find that After replacing it with the related values of n is equal to 0 till 3, it will be verified that the value of x3 is nothing but x3 of 0 is nothing but 14. Similarly, x3 of 1 is 16, x3 of 2 is 14, and x3 of 3 is 16. So 14, 16, 14, 16. This is the final answer for the x3, which is nothing but actually the circular convolution of the two sequences x1 and x2. So when we put these values in the equation, we just need to write here their multiplication, like x1 of 0 is nothing but 2 into x2 of 0, that is nothing but 1. So 2 into 1, that is 2. Next is nothing but plus, so 2 plus, so here we can just say that it is nothing but, for the first case it is 2 plus, next is x1 of 1, that is 1, and x2 of minus 1 mod 4, because it is capital N, that is the total number of sample values for each sequence are 4. So minus 1 mod 4, it is 3. So x2 of 3 is nothing but 4. So 4 into 1, so it will result in a value 4. Similarly, x1 of 2, that is 2. So 2 into, next x2 of minus 2 mod 4 means it is 2, so it is 3. So 2 into 3, that is 6, so it will result in a value 6, plus the final value for x1 of 3, it is nothing but 1 into x2 of 3 minus 3 mod 4, so it will result in a value 1. So this is nothing but 2 into 1, that is 2. So just add it, it is nothing but 2 plus 4, that is 6, 6 plus 6, that is 12, 12 plus 2, it is 14. So this is how we will get the result as a 14. So in the same way you can find out it for x3 of 1, x3 of 2, x3 of 3 by just putting the values of n with respect to the summation value, and 1, that is 1, 2, 3, it is nothing but the values for m. So this is how x3 of n, that is the resultant sequence after the circular convolution, is calculated, which is verified just now. So thank you everyone, thank you very much. In the next lecture we are going to see further more properties as well as how to go for solving the numericals based on the circular convolution approach, which is quite easier to understand. Only the thing is you need to understand the properties of shifting, time shifting with respect to the circular approach. So thank you everyone, thank you very much.